You are listening to Däs Bundesliga show here on the Lock Betting Podcast. You can follow the Lock Betting Twitter account at lockbetting.com. That's at lockbetting.com. It's the same handle for the TikTok, where we post 30 to 45 second easily digestible videos. To get all of my official plays, go to lockbetting.com. That is a service that has delivered 118 months in a row of track profit. You'll see all the spreadsheets on that website. You'll also see the pinned tweet at the Twitter account at lockbetting.com. That is the P&L from the previous month. So if you want to do some quick due diligence, just go and have a look at the previous month. But if you want to see all the spreadsheets, go to lockbetting.com and shoot me a DM if you have any questions before you sign up for the service at lockbetting.com. The Twitter account, the DMs are open. Moving on with this edition of Däs Bundesliga show, we will be covering 7 games on this edition of the show. And we begin with Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are at home to Hoffenheim. They are looking for a bounce back after what was a humiliating defeat at the hands of Manchester City in the end. They ended up losing the game 3-0. They now need a miracle to qualify for the Champions League. They are also in a real title race this season here in Germany. So they really need to get a run together here under Thomas Tuchel. They are the 1-6 minus 600 home favourites today to win against Hoffenheim. It's 7-1 here on the draw, and it's 12-1 here on Hoffenheim. This should be a ferocious bounce back from Bayern Munich, but the way that the Champions League quarterfinal is set up, it's not that huge gap that we had for the round of 16. It means that the game against Manchester City will only be played next Wednesday. So will this be a look-ahead spot is my only concern. I think that Bayern should be able to cover a minus 1.5 Asian handicap here. I don't want to go any higher because I think Hoffenheim could cause a Bayern Munich defence that's conceded 12 goals in 6 games some problems and therefore could contribute towards scoring. I did consider Bayern Munich and over 3.5 goals as a play. But ultimately, I do think that Bayern will win this game by more than a goal after what happened to them in midweek. No team has more Bundesliga wins with 4 or more goals scored in the game than Bayern Munich this season. 9 of Bayern Munich's last 11 Bundesliga home games have ended with over 2.5 goals. And Hoffenheim into this one off the back of 3 straight victories. So they could definitely contribute towards the scoring. I err on the side of caution and just go as far as Bayern Munich minus 1.5 on the Asian handicap line with a lean on Bayern Munich to win with the over 3.5 goals. That selection is available at even money plus 100. So that is a plus money selection if you do want to use that data to take a risk on that play. But I do think Bayern Munich will come back here, bounce back and win by more than a goal. The Asian handicap line of minus 1.5 is available at 4-7. As I said, short price, but definitely something I see happening here, particularly after the defeat. Not just the defeat, but the manner of the defeat as well. I think we'll see some highly charged, highly motivated players who will come out and put together a strong 45-minute performance. It's also worth looking at Bayern Munich definitely winning this first half as well. Up next, we move on to the game between RB Leipzig and Augsburg, where Leipzig are the 1-5 minus 500 favourites. It's 6-1 on the draw, and Augsburg here are a 12-1 underdog. RB Leipzig need to start winning games because they're going to not finish in the top 4 and there'll be no Champions League football for them next season. I think this is a game that they will win, and in order to get us away from that very short price, I will tack on over 2.5 goals. Only Bayern Munich and Leipzig have scored more away league goals this season than Augsburg, who could contribute towards this over 2.5, needing Leipzig to score 2 goals to win this game. Incidentally, Leipzig and BTTS individually is available at 2-1. Leipzig have scored 9 goals across the last 3 home head-to-head encounters with this side, and we'll take that again here for this one in order to get us over the line with the over 2.5. They've actually been over 3.5 in 8 of Augsburg's last 13 Bundesliga away games, with 9 of Leipzig's last 11 Bundesliga home games having 3 goals or more. 8 of Augsburg's last 10 Bundesliga away games have seen 4 or more goals scored. So they are involved in some heavy, high-scoring games. Therefore, I'm comfortable taking Leipzig to win and tacking on the over 2.5 goals to get us a better price. This gets us to the price of 4-6 minus 150 here for this one. Up next, we look at the game here featuring Borussia Dortmund. They travel to Stuttgart and they are the 5-4 favourites to win that game. It's 13-5 on the draw, and Stuttgart are a 7-4 underdog. Dortmund continue to pile the pressure on Bayern Munich, and therefore getting them here at plus money does definitely appeal to me. They should have more than enough quality to get past Stuttgart, who are a relegation-threatened team. There have been a lot of goals lately in Stuttgart and Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund games. There have been 4 more goals scored in 12 of Dortmund's 27 Bundesliga games this season, and 6 of Stuttgart's last 8 Bundesliga games have featured over 2.5 goals. Both teams have scored in Borussia Dortmund's last 5 straight Bundesliga games as well. But ultimately, that's just data to kind of pad out what is already a very good price. I just think Dortmund will be highly motivated here to keep the pressure on Bayern. They would have seen what happened in midweek, and they'll be even more inspired that they can genuinely cause an upset and win the league this season. Bayern Munich, though, are the 1-9 minus 900 favourites to win the title this season, with Borussia Dortmund at 5-1. So obviously, they are the clear underdogs in this 2-horse race. But I feel that they'll continue winning here against Stuttgart away today. I'll take Borussia Dortmund at the plus money price, 5-4, plus 125 on the money line here for this one. Up next, we move to the late game on Saturday, where Eintracht Frankfurt are hosting Borussia Mönchengladbach. Frankfurt are the 7-10 favourites to win it. It's 3-1 on the draw, and it's also 3-1 here on Eintracht Frankfurt. On Borussia Mönchengladbach, sorry. Eintracht Frankfurt should be winning games like this. They look like decent value at this price to beat a Gladbach team who've won just once on the road so far this season. They also have an outside chance of Champions League football. Both teams have scored in 18 of Frankfurt's league games this season, if you are looking to extract a little bit more value here from this game. In addition to that, the last 4 head-to-heads at this venue have also seen BTTS cash. But my main leans here are going to be for Frankfurt. They need to win the game. Gladbach can't defend. They've conceded 11 times across the last 4 away games. And I like Frankfurt to get it done here in this one. So I'm going to take Frankfurt to win, with a lean on Frankfurt and BTTS, which is available at 5-2 plus 250 here for this game. Up next, we jump across to Sunday, and we start with the game featuring Werder Bremen. They are taking on Freiburg. Freiburg, of course, chasing Champions League football this season. Werder Bremen are the narrow 6-4 favourites to win it. It's 12-5 on the draw, and Freiburg are the 8-5 underdogs. Tough game to call here. I think Freiburg do offer up some value as an away underdog in this game. Freiburg have lost just one of the last 8 games in the league. Bremen have lost 57% of their home games this season. Both teams have actually scored in 4 of Freiburg's last 5 domestic games, if you want to go in a different direction. And Bremen have scored 7 goals in their last 4 games. So this should be an entertaining fixture for sure. But I'll take Freiburg here as a pick. This pushes if this game ends up being a draw. But it loses only if Werder Bremen pick up the win here. Obviously, you cash if Freiburg win. So that's Freiburg in the draw no bet market here at the price of even money plus 100 for this one. Up next, we look at Union Berlin, who are trying to stay in the Champions League positions. They host Bochum. They're the 4-6 favourites to win this game. It's 11-4 on the draw. It's 19-4 here on Bochum. We lost a lock on this fixture earlier on in the season. Union Berlin were absolutely flying, clear top of the league. Bochum were bottom of the table, and there were incredible statistics to support top and bottom clashes in the Bundesliga. But Union Berlin blew that away, or rather Bochum blew that away by beating Union Berlin. I don't think that will be the case this time. Union Berlin in a bounce-back spot here, chasing Champions League football. They're better at home as well. They've been rattled by consecutive defeats, but they should be able to bounce back here against lowly Bochum. Union Berlin having kept 3 clean sheets in their last 4 home games. Bochum, they aren't bottom anymore, but they are on a terrible run of goal scoring. They've only scored 1 goal from open play in their last 10 hours of football. So That doesn't put you in good stead travelling to an Union Berlin side who defend very, very well. Could be worth even tacking on the under 4.5 goals here to give you a little bit more value, or even Union Berlin to win to nil at the price of 6-4 plus 150. But as Bochum have only scored 1 goal from open play in the last 10 hours of football and are winless in 12 of the last 14 away games, with Union Berlin much stronger at home, chasing Champions League football, looking for a bounce back, we'll take them at the price of 4-6 minus 150. Final game here is Bayer Leverkusen travelling to Wolfsburg, where Wolfsburg are the 7-4 underdogs, 12-5 on the draw, and it's 6-4 here on Leverkusen. Leverkusen ended a run of winning 7 straight games by not winning against Union St. Gallis in midweek in the Europa League. That could make that a look-ahead spot, but ultimately I'm going to roll with Leverkusen anyway. I think they have an outside chance of Champions League football with this run that they've put together. They have a perfect winning record across the last 5 Bundesliga rounds. They have run out winners in 5 of the last 6 visits to Wolfsburg, who are winless in 4 of the last 5 matches. So simple, Leverkusen on the money line here for me. We'll take it at a price of 6-4 plus 150 here for this one. Closing out with your lock on the show. Torn between 2 selections here. Want to get my money back from losing that lock earlier on in the season where Union Berlin dropped points at Bochum. Union Berlin have been massively undervalued all throughout this season. And it's been a case of when they're going to drop out, not if they're going to drop out for the bookies. But ultimately, that's not been the case. And it's been largely down to their home form. I also like the value on Borussia Dortmund against a sliding Stuttgart side who are now in the relegation zone, not in the relegation playoff spot, but in one of the automatic places. And they face a Dortmund team here who are chasing the title, who have found a way to win these away games this season, which they previously didn't. I've ended up going with the latter. I've ended up going with Borussia Dortmund for various reasons. First of all, it's a better price. We take plus 125 here, over 4-6 minus 150. There is a possibility that Union Berlin will show up on the official lockbetting.com soccer card anyway tomorrow, but Dortmund is the play here for this podcast. We also have various futures that involve Borussia Dortmund. We have a 5-unit future, which is a 4-legged parlay that needs Bayern Munich to win the league. So every time we take Dortmund, we are sort of hedging, but not entirely, because we do have Borussia Dortmund from earlier on in the season to win the league without Bayern in it. And we double down on that play when we came back from the Christmas period, and Dortmund have been absolutely awesome since then. So we do want Dortmund to continue winning, but only to a certain extent, because we don't want them to win the title. So it's a little bit of an awkward one, but ultimately Dortmund not winning this isn't the worst result for our futures, but I do think they will, and we'll take them here as a lock on the show at a price of plus 125. That's it for me. Good luck with all your bets as always, and thanks for listening.